All right, today we're talking about one of the most important tools in music production, the audio compressor. But forget the super technical specs for a minute. We're going to look at its 4 distinct creative personalities. Let's get into it.
You know when you listen to your favorite songs and everything just sounds right? That incredible punch in the drums, the warmth in the vocals, or that magical glue that makes the whole track feel cohesive? Well, a lot of that comes down to compression. And it's so much more than just a volume knob. It's really about shaping emotion.
Okay, so let's get the technical definition out of the way real quick. At its heart, a compressor just reduces the dynamic range. That's the difference between the loudest and quietest parts of a sound. It turns the loud stuff down, lets you bring quiet stuff up. Simple, right? But the really cool part, the part that matters for us, is how they do it, because that's where all the magic happens.
And that right there, that's the whole point of this explainer. See, every compressor basically does the same job, but each type has its own unique sonic fingerprint. A tone, a feel, a personality. And that's what we're really choosing as producers. Not just a tool, but a character to add to our music.
All right, first up, let's meet our first personality, the VCA. That stands for Voltage Controlled Amplifier. You can think of this one as the precise, clean, super reliable workhorse of the studio. It gets the job done, and it does it perfectly.
So what's the VCA all about? One word. Control. These things are fast, they're clean, and you can tweak pretty much every parameter you can think of. What that means for you is tight, precise control over your dynamics, but without coloring the sound. That makes them crazy versatile.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. The VCA is the sound of pure energy, but totally under control. It's that tight, punchy, modern sound we hear all over the place.
So when should you reach for a VCA? Well, because it's so precise, it's amazing on anything rhythmic with sharp transients. Think drums, aggressive synths, that kind of thing. And it's legendary on the mix bus for providing that glue that tightens up the entire track without turning everything to mush.
Okay, now for a complete 180. Let's talk about the FET compressor. This is the aggressive rockstar of the bunch. If the VCA was all about clean precision, the FET is all about raw energy and pure attitude.
So a FET, that's a field effect transistor compressor, is famous for one thing, speed. We're talking ludicrously fast. The attack time is so quick it can grab a transient almost instantly. But here's the real secret sauce. It adds this amazing harmonic distortion. It's not clean. It's got this musical grit that just makes a track feel exciting and alive.
And that's its whole mission in life, really. If you have a sound that needs to leap out of the speakers and grab you by the collar, the FET is your guy. It's not about being subtle. It's about injecting pure, raw energy. You hear these things everywhere, in rock and pop. They're perfect for vocals when you want that in-your-face assertive sound. They add bite and crunch to guitars. And they can make a drum kit sound absolutely huge. Seriously, if a sound is just a little too polite, a FET will give it some serious attitude.
All right, let's slow things way down. Time to meet our third personality, the optical compressor. This one is the complete opposite of the FET. It's the gentle, musical smoother of the group, famous for its incredibly organic, effortless sound.
So what makes an optical compressor so special? It's kind of wild, actually. It literally uses a little light bulb and a light sensor to control the volume. And because of that physical process, it's naturally slower, smoother, and it has this amazing program-dependent thing going on. That means its attack and release times actually breathe and adapt along with the music. It's just so musical. And that's exactly why producers love them. It doesn't smash your performance into the ground. It's more like having an invisible hand on the fader, just gently and musically riding the level. It's almost impossible to make these things sound bad. They're super transparent, but they add this beautiful, subtle warmth. So naturally, because it's so gentle, it's a classic choice for vocals, especially when you need to control dynamics but keep all that emotion. It's also fantastic on bass, just helping it sit perfectly in the pocket, and it's brilliant for smoothing out long, sustained sounds like strings or synth pads.
And that brings us to our fourth and final personality, the Vari-Mu. If the others were characters, this one is the icon. It's the heavyweight champion of warmth and glue. Honestly, just think of it as the sound of pure luxury.
So Vari-Mu compressors use actual vacuum tubes to do their thing. And that tube design gives them this rich, warm, gorgeous saturation that's just, well, it's beautiful. They're also slow and musical, a bit like optical compressors, but they add this incredible depth and weight that you can't get anywhere else.
I love this analogy.
Think of it like a warm blanket for your mix. That just says it all, doesn't it? A Vari-Mu doesn't just control things, it connects them. It pulls all the separate tracks together and makes them feel like one cohesive, finished song.
And because of that incredible glue, you see Vari-Mu comps all the time on the final mix bus or in the mastering chain. It's that last step that adds the polish, that expensive-sounding finish to a whole track. They're also incredible on things like acoustic guitar, just bringing out all that natural richness.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got the Precise VCA, the Aggressive FET, the Smooth Optical, and the luxurious Vari-Mu. 4 totally different characters. So the big question is, how do you know which one to pick? Well, the answer isn't about the numbers on the dials. It's about emotion. Think of this as your cheat sheet. Seriously, forget about attack times and ratios for a second. Start with the feeling you're going for. What do you want the listener to feel? If you need clean, hard-hitting punch, grab a VCA. If you want a smooth, natural musical flow, go for an optical. If you need aggression, edge, and attitude, that's a job for the FET. And if you need that beautiful cohesion, that warmth and depth, the Vari-Mu is what you want.
And hey, here are a few quick tips to try out. First, don't be afraid to stack them. You can use a super fast FET to catch the really sharp peaks and then run that into a smooth optical to even everything else out. You get the best of both worlds. Also, and this is a big one, always gain match. Make sure the after is the same volume as the before, so you're actually hearing the change in tone, not just that it's louder. But most important of all, just listen emotionally. If it feels tighter, warmer, or more confident, it's working.
So at the end of the day, just remember this. Compression is not just a boring technical tool for controlling volume. It's a creative tool. It's for shaping character. Each one of these types offers a totally different flavor, a different feeling. So the only real question is, what emotion are you going to shape next?